Recently, I've been going back and playing some old Pokemon games. Of course, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green recently came out on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. And going through one of those old games, the gameplay loop, the experience, the benefits that you get in modern games that don't exist in these older games, it's fun. It's a great experience that takes me back to my childhood, to playing Pokemon Emerald and Leaf Green for the first time, eventually playing Pokemon Diamond. I recently picked up Platinum out of my drawer and decided to do a replay of it. And I'm realizing that something I say often about the newer Pokemon games, something we say online, is very hypocritical. We got the reveal for Pokémon Winds and Waves in February of this year with a release date targeted to 2027. That is next year. It seems, based on rumor, that it won't even be an early 2027 release. This is going to be a game we most likely have to wait late into the year for. And when we get news like this, if you're around in the Pokemon community, a lot of people will rejoice and praise Game Freak. I believe I have done something similar. Good. We are getting a game with more time in the oven. They're going to cook longer on this. This game isn't going to be rushed out to meet a deadline. This game isn't going to be rushed out to meet the launch of the merchandising and the anime and the trading cards, to keep the Pokemon machine churning. This is one of the biggest media franchises in the world. And ever since that reveal, it is now May of 2026, I've been sitting with something. In thinking back to some of the recent games we've gotten, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, the Legends games. Games where large swaths of the community criticized Game Freak because while many would say we had a great experience, we had fun with the games felt rushed. There were aspects of the games that didn't feel done. I think as Pokemon fans, we realize that we are very privileged in comparison to the fans of other franchises. Look at Metroid or Pikmin. Fan bases that had to wait 5, 6, 7, 10 years for new entries into their favorite franchise. Some franchises that Nintendo knows could be better with more care, but for whatever reason, they decide they don't sell particularly well, Metroid being a good example. So the games are few and far between. That leads to Metroid fans desperately praying that every single time a new game releases, it's going to be a 10 out of 10, a big hit, something that is going to break sales records, because they so desperately want Nintendo to put more money and resources into the franchise and give it to them more frequently. That is not a problem we have with Pokemon. We are getting Pokemon content of some kind, whether it's mobile apps, ports, brand new games, every single year. It felt, though, that ever since we moved to the Nintendo Switch, that Game Freak was rushing development. This all started, of course, with Pokemon Sword and Shield and the endless stream of controversies that those games brought to the community. And I had my fun with a lot of those games. Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet especially, I had an absolute blast with. Legends Arceus is probably a top 5 Pokemon experience of all time for me. So now that we have Winds and Waves and we're seemingly getting a longer development cycle for the next generation of Pokemon, it's made me realize that I'm an absolute hypocrite. I'm really annoyed that Winds and Waves is not coming out this year. I understand that, we're probably going to get the final product next year, and we're going to be really happy with it. It seems like, even from the original reveal, the community has been incredibly optimistic and excited about the art direction the game is taking, where it looks like the gameplay may go, the region itself. It seems like Pokemon may be hitting their stride in 3D. At least that's what a lot of the community says. And it's difficult for me to completely get on board with that, because I think changes to my lifestyle and changes to the way I play video games has led me to almost be more forgiving of a game that we feel is rushed. Pokemon Legends ZA, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, some of the newest games in the Pokemon franchise. To me, getting those games on a yearly basis meant that I could kind of plan my year around when they were coming out. I knew when I was going to be investing a lot of time into playing a video game. And selfishly for this channel, not having a game come out this year is something that is difficult in terms of wanting to plan and create content. I almost feel that there are parts of me that are willing to forgive some corners being cut if it means we get a new Pokemon experience sooner. I understand that Pokemon Winds and Waves is hopefully going to be the best that it can possibly be, whether that means it is releasing in fall of 2027 or if it's releasing a little bit earlier in the year, which is my hope. You also expect that they've had years before now to be working on this game, that they were willing to show us pretty substantial gameplay back in February, which means this game is pretty far along. Now, I understand there are leaks out there about the future of Pokemon. I understand there are a lot of rumors and leaks about Winds and Waves, not just content that's going to be in the game, but planned hype cycle for the game, when we're going to start to see content. There are rumors out there that we're not going to see Winds and Waves again this year. And I don't think that's totally impossible. I think it's very possible that Game Freak sits on their hands until Pokemon Day next year. We get almost a second reveal for Winds and Waves, and then we get a release date, whether that's summer 2027 to fit the stylized world of Winds and Waves, or if it nestles into a typical November release date of next year. But selfishly, I think my criticism of wanting Game Freak to take their time after not taking their time, it doesn't fit into, how I play games anymore. I really wish we were getting Winds and Waves sooner. And I'm not 100% positive that the substantially longer development time is going to dramatically change my enjoyment of the game. I know what Pokemon is. I fundamentally know what the formula is. I know what they're trying to do. I know, the gameplay loops that I'm going to get involved in with every new release. And I know that if I want something different, a different flavor, I have spin-off titles or other games. Pokemon games dominate the games that I play at the top of my Switch library, my 3DS library back in the day, DS. They're at the top of every single list. They're the games that I play predominantly more than almost anything else, besides a select few, like, Minecraft when I was a teenager or something like that dominated that time. Pokemon's always at the top. And now sitting here knowing that, fundamentally I'm going to play through Winds and Waves. I'm really going to enjoy the main story. When I finish it, I catch the legendaries, you do a little bit of the post-game content, maybe some DLC content. That's when I'm going to be done with the experience. I'm not jumping into the trading card game or pulling up Pokemon Go that much and doing that sort of loop. I'm not really on the Pokemon Center website buying up as much merch as I possibly can. It's not really how I take in Pokemon these days. So for me, I think people like me also exist. I'm not sure that the longer development time selfishly is going to be something I see as a positive in the long run, because I'll use Scarlet and Violet as an example, a game where it runs pretty bad on the original Nintendo Switch. It runs a lot better on the Switch too, but it's a game that I felt myself completely enveloped into exploring the world, catching the Pokemon, doing all the gyms, doing the 3 different branches of the storyline, eventually getting to Area 0, and then doing the DLC. I really loved that experience. It is probably my favorite Switch Pokemon game. In terms of just the amount of time put into it and the amount of effort I had playing that game. Legends Arceus is special in its own right because it calls back to my childhood and my love for the Sinnoh region and Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum and all of those things, but I put more time into Scarlet and Violet. I put more time on this channel into Scarlet and Violet. I put more gameplay into Scarlet and Violet, even with all of its flaws. So it's interesting for me to kind of reflect and talk about this with you guys, that I'm not sure, unless this game truly blows our socks off and it is a genuine, a AAA Pokemon game, something we've been dreaming of, the memes of a big open world Pokemon MMO, that kind of thing, that grand style. I'm not sure that what they're going to do with the extra time is going to be worth it for me to not want this game sooner. You know, I understand that there's a lot out there about wanting to kind of slow down in life and experience things as they come and appreciate things when you get them. And that's true. But it's a long time for Winds and Waves. And I'm just kind of grappling with that now, how long it's going to be before this game comes out. Where I saw that first trailer and I was like, this looks pretty good. How about we get this game pretty soon? How about we see the legendaries and the map of the region and let's jump into it? And I think I'm going to miss the shorter time span from reveal to release. It's weird for me to admit that. It's weird for me to talk about that because it feels like it goes against the grain of what the Pokemon community wants from Game Freak and what they praise, but that's just kind of how I've been thinking about the game. What do you guys think, though? Are you looking forward to Winds and Waves coming out next year? What do you think about its development cycle? When we're going to see content from it again? When we're going to start to see trailers? Let me know all of that down below. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Or are you willing to let Game Freak have as much time as they want and you're content playing the spin-offs or playing some other games in the meantime? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you're not subscribed to the channel, also be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you never miss any other content that I put out. As always, my name is Linky, and we'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.